feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Central Pennsylvania Shrimp Tank, brought to you from our new studio here in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. I'm your host, Nathan Imboden, and we are at, 55 or maybe 56 episodes here, going strong. And you can find every single one of those episodes on our website at shrimptankpodcast.com/CentralPA. Also, be sure to go to our Facebook page, click that like button, go to your favorite podcast app, whether it's Apple Podcast, Google Play, iHeartRadio, anywhere you can get a podcast, click that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the amazing entrepreneurs we get to interview and business owners right here in Central Pennsylvania. And we like to say, look, get your MBA in entrepreneurship by listening to this podcast, because you can hear it straight from the individuals that are on the ground, living it day in and day out, hear from their experiences. You can read a book or you can listen to these amazing entrepreneurs and business owners. So again, check out our webpage, shrimptankpodcast.com/CentralPA. And we are still in the midst of our mini series in the Crosshairs of Corona, where we're getting a beat from these business owners about what the shutdown orders, what the coronavirus, the stay-at-home orders, and all that stuff has really done to the business community, and has really challenged them in either being able to be versatile, or in some cases, not a whole lot. And so today we have Levi McCurdy, who is the co-owner and DJ at Sparkx Entertainment. And we're going to hear from him what this has done to their business, how they're adapting, and what they see here going forward. So without further ado, Levi, welcome to the podcast, brother. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, thank you as well. Thanks for having me. Kind of nervous, I'll be honest. But yeah, we are in the midst of it. And I think next week, I think our county is going to be in the green phase finally.
Yeah.
In PA. So we are, we're looking forward to that. And we are celebrating with actually a wedding that day.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah. Our first one in three months now. So wow. It's been a struggle, and we're itching to get out there and make things happen for our couples. So
yeah, awesome. Well, give us a little bit of a beat on the business itself. When was the business started? And then maybe walk us through what early, first quarter, spring 2020 looked like before, boom, shut down.
Sure. So my business partner and I, Justin, started this whole thing going on 9 or 10 years ago.
Okay.
Someone we knew from high school asked us if we could DJ their wedding. We don't know why, but they just assumed that was something that we did.
Sure.
We've always been entertainers. He was into music. I was into magic. So naturally that just kind of came up, and we said, sure, why not? And we did it, and we went and we had a blast.
Awesome.
So ever since that day, we turned it into a business, and now we're serving Central PA with DJ, photography, video, and photo booth services, all for weddings and events. And that has just led us down this path. And last year, we maxed out at about 48 weddings.
Wow.
Which we quickly discovered was way over our limit. So luckily, we decided to push that number down just a little bit for this year. And as it turns out, was kind of a blessing in disguise due to everything that's going on.
Sure.
And so we hit the ground running in 2020. Our first wedding was in January, and then we had another one in March. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And so that just kind of led us into a panic mode, because much like everyone else, we were just kind of seeing how this whole thing was going to play out. Mm-hmm. There were always rumors of, the shutdown and the stay-at-home orders, and then they became real. And then just keeping up with the industry news and what that looked like, especially with weddings, right, where our average guest count is anywhere from, 75 to 150 people. So it quickly became something that we just wanted to get ahead of, and, reaching out to our couples and anyone that, we might have events scheduled for, to see where they're at, talking to the venues, talking to the other wedding vendors if, you know, they didn't hire us for something that we offered, and just seeing where everyone was at and attempting to reschedule or push back or make some things happen and not everything all at once. So that's been our challenge, you know, trying to figure out what we can do legally and what we can't do as far as the wedding industry. So there's been a lot of talk just throughout those, you know, different wedding vendors and all the venues and the couples, and making sure everyone's on the same page. And that's essentially what we had to do. We've had at least 10 to 15 reschedule. And we've had about 5 so far who have rescheduled their reschedule just because no one predicted this lasting so long.
Sure.
And we did have a couple of cancellations altogether. And that's just kind of where we're at now. So we're riding the wave. And like I said, with everything kind of almost sort of ish going back to normal, our first wedding in a while will be on Friday. So
yeah, awesome. How many guests are going to be at that wedding? It's just a curiosity question.
Yes, so it's part of what you see a lot of vendors and venues are doing is micro weddings. So I believe their max guest count is 30 people.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure if that includes us or not. But they're having about 30 people there.
Okay.
And it's not your typical day. So typically we get there anywhere from like 9 or 10 a.m. You know, because if we're filming or doing photos, we capture the getting ready and the hair and makeup process.
Yep.
And then all the way up till the end is usually 9 or 10 at night. But this one's starting about midday, around 3 o'clock, and then going to about 9. So it's a half day, which makes sense since it's not the entire process. So
yeah, sure. So from the business standpoint, it's you and your partner. Do you have any other employees that you're dealing with or had to deal with through this?
Yeah, so it's me and my business partner, Justin. And then as far as employees go, we don't have any, full-time employees currently. We have a couple other people that help us out as far as, using the camera and the music and things along those lines. So it hasn't been anything too crazy in the sense of, layoffs or, things along those lines. So we're kind of lucky in that aspect. So it's been pretty smooth sailing in that realm.
Yeah. Now, did you guys go through the PPP process at all? Because you were pretty much, if there's a justification for economic hardship, that's your industry, and what you had to go through would have been that. But did you guys try to go through that, or what did that look like?
Yeah, so I applied for it, I think back in March, I think when they kind of first announced it and everyone else was hopping on board. And I actually just got an email with an update on that application like a couple of weeks ago. So we haven't officially pulled the trigger on anything just yet. Thankfully, as far as financials go, everything was kind of in place to, allow us to streamline through it as far as, bills and subscriptions and stuff like that. So, luckily we were in an okay space where we didn't have to utilize that yet. So, yeah.
So, all right, you've been off for almost 3 months at this point. It'll be close to 3 months from when you did your last event, when you get to do one again here on Friday. What have you tried to do? Have you done anything in this time period to, I don't know if you want to say, stay relevant, try to stay top of mind? What kind of things have you been trying to fill time with so that 3 months goes by and you've been dormant, haven't been dormant, I should say? Yeah.
So as far as internally goes, we still had a couple of wedding films and galleries that needed edited. So we've been plugging away at getting those out to our past couples. And then realizing what this is going to do to the industry, we've really focused on our relationships with other vendors. So even though we offer all these services, we know that, not all of our couples are going to, want our style of photography, or they have somebody already in mind for a video or a DJ or vice versa, or whatever that might look like. So we've really hammered down on our relationships with other vendors.
Yeah.
And so those, just solidifying, what they offer and potentially getting their price points and, helping our couples that have to reschedule, that their photographer might not be available that day, or,
Sure.
They're in a crunch to lock down the venue and the dates and everything has to line up perfectly. So we know that that's not going to happen every time. So we've been doing our best at just solidifying those relationships so that when the time comes that, our couples might need a photo booth and ours is being utilized that same day, we can say, hey, we're friends with, FX photo booth, or we're friends with Shining Star, or if it's a photographer, we're friends with, Sam Reese or the Orndorfs or whoever it might be in the same area. And so that we can we like to create a stress-free environment, because we know what comes with planning a wedding, especially in 2020. So if we can help relieve just an ounce of stress, then that's, we call that a job well done. So making sure that those relationships are solidified was important for us.
And I'm guessing too, then on the, we'll call it reciprocity side, right? You have a photographer who has a wedding booked, but somebody's looking for a DJ or a, whatever, and they may also then come to you just for that sleeve of the business. And yet that's what you're entertaining as well, rather than needing to be the full service, whole package deal. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're grateful in the sense that we can offer all these services, but a lot of the times we are just going to a wedding as a DJ or as a photographer or as a videographer, just because of those relationships or styles or whatever it may be. And we are 100% okay with that. And that's kind of how it's always been. So we've been building those relationships along the way. It's, as long as all of the vendors included understand that it's their wedding day and not ours, that's just kind of the mentality that we always go into these days with. So.
Yeah, that's probably helpful. So most of them were weddings then. Was anything ventured out on, big birthday bashes or neighborhood parties or corporate events or whatnot? Or was it primarily around weddings?
Yeah, so weddings are bread and butter. That's about like 90 to 95% of what we do. Okay. We do work with a couple of different charities. One is a 5K race for a dog shelter that we do every year. Unfortunately, that was canceled, and I'm not sure if they're rescheduling or not. And another big one that we do is the city of York puts on an adult prom. And we did that for the first time last year, and they're having us back again this year. And that was rescheduled till September.
Interesting.
So yeah, we're trying to navigate the waters with that, and it's unfortunate, but we're on it together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the good news is there's some light at the end of the tunnel, I think, because you got this gig coming up on Friday, and hopefully that'll kickstart more as weddings now that were rescheduled, stay on the books, hopefully now going forward. But what's your sense been as you're talking to, if you're talking with, brides and grooms and other vendors and whatnot on their outlook of when that type of activity, more group-based activity, is kind of resuming? Once we hit green, that feels like that's the comfort level to at least have some sort of resuming, or I don't know, what are people's feelings?
Yeah, I think for the most part, everyone's just excited. Up until this point, we weren't even allowed to go out to a park and do an engagement shoot. So now that kind of ban has been lifted, we're all just kind of looking forward to getting out of the house.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing. And then, I mean, as far as the wedding side goes, you know, the biggest challenge is what we're seeing is a lot of our couples have families that are out of town. So whether they're driving or flying in, which is the case in most instances, they, you know, not a huge part of the family isn't comfortable still with traveling, especially on planes.
Right.
So, you know, the two biggest things that we are telling our couples is, you know, one, check with the venue, and two, check with your guest, is the biggest thing, you know, because we're there. We'll be there in a heartbeat. And we know most of the other vendors probably will be as well. But, you know, we can't fill a dance floor if half of your family is missing, because of, you know, the airlines or the travel restrictions. So, but if the family's on board, and everyone's on their way, we're gonna be there and have a good time doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm an optimist, so I've been criticized for my eternal optimism at times in the past, because I sometimes just am, well, in some people's minds, too optimistic. But I'd rather be that than the other side. So that's just me. But I think, I think we're gonna break out of this, and we'll start to see that stuff. It'll look a little different, clearly, than it did before. But I think you're right. People are just ready to engage again in some way, shape, or form, and try to get back to some sense of what things were before. So the good news is for you guys, I think that means picking things back up for you and getting back on track with where your goals were at the beginning of the year. So yep. I hope that's true, just from my perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's, you know, like I said, we've just been kind of itching. You know, I haven't hit play in 3 months. So I'm trying to, you know, I'm in the house trying to build that perfect playlist, and Justin's, you know, ordering new lights and camera equipment just so we can finally get out there and use it all again.
Yeah.
And that's kind of we're ready. We're energized and we're ready to go.
Yeah. Awesome. I think it's going to be great.
Yep.
Well, and some great tips on pivoting in a different way. So you were pretty well stymied with not being able to do anything, any events, like that just wasn't possible. So maintaining relationships with existing clients, but also forging ahead to maintain or build stronger relationships with those vendors was a great pivot and a great use of time, which hopefully will pay dividends down the road. So good for you for thinking through that way and putting something in place to position yourselves to come out of this strong on the back end.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was kind of our biggest thing going into it. You know, we looked at it pretty early on, and Justin and I had a lot of conversations on, you know, what can we do? What can't we do? And what are we going to do? And that was at the top of our list. So, yeah.
Awesome. I know I told you earlier, and one of the things I like to do with these podcasts is make sure, and you got a lot of good stuff that you brought to the table as well, but I like to also do some shout outs in the community of either other organizations or businesses that have taken this time to also shine and do a lot of good. So do you have any specific examples of organizations or businesses or whatnot that have done really great things during this time?
Yeah, so our friends over at Meadowbrook Gourds, they are located in Carlisle.
Okay.
And they plant and grow and clean and wash and cut and dry and paint gourds. You know, due to the restrictions of COVID, they had to shut everything down, you know, send their employees home. But they partnered with Dr. Deborah Taylor, who is also, I believe, from Carlisle, and with the help of the Chamber of Commerce, she helped secure enough donations to buy supplies to create face masks for medical responders. So they partnered with Meadowbrook, and the employees came in and volunteered their time. And they built and constructed over 10,000 medical shields face mask
kidding.
shields.
Yeah.
For the first responders. And, you know, the Brandon Bear, who is the vice president of Meadowbrook, you know, he just basically said it's technically the same thing, you know, the cutting of the plastic and the gluing that they do with the gourds. So it just kind of came natural to them, and made for a pretty quick and easy construction of these face masks. So
awesome. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, personally, I love hearing that, because there's two mindsets, I think, of people when you hear something like this going on. Well, you're shut down, you can't do anything. You either go into I get a bit of a vacation now, or you go into, I'm productive. I like being productive. Let me figure out how to be productive in a different way. And in this case, really being able to give back to help protect those first responders and the ones who are out there every day. So awesome. Great example.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's always, I'm the same way. There's always something to be done. And if I'm not doing something, you know, work related or, you know, along those lines, then something's not right. There's always, you know, either an email that needs responded to, or a photo that needs edited, or something that can be done, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm the same way. So this definitely hasn't been a vacation. I think it's just been a time to double down on everything.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, for people who are watching this, who are now thinking ahead, we're getting now ahead to, all right, I've got an event planned. We're starting to look at this stuff again for summer and fall, and are possibly interested in investigating the services that you guys provide. What is the best way for them to either learn about you or then maybe reach out to you?
Sure. So our website's probably the best way, sparkxentertainment.com.
That's SPARX, correct?
No, sorry. It's SPARKX.
KX, perfect. Okay.
It's just my terrible spelling, and then it just kind of stuck, and we were
I like it.
too late to fix it.
I like it. Yeah.
So SPRKXentertainment.com. We're on also obviously Facebook, Instagram, everywhere else. And then there's a get a quote button. You can click that, and that email comes directly to me.
Awesome.
And I typically respond usually within the hour.
Awesome.
Everything else you need to know about us are on those pages as well. So, our website.
Perfect. Great. And I know you are on the Central PA Supports Small Business page. So hopefully those who are out there will also see this and keep championing that message for Central PA based businesses and small businesses. So Levi, thanks again for coming on, sharing your story. From what I can tell, good things are ahead, really good things are ahead. Good job keeping your nose down and using this as an opportunity to keep moving forward and pivot. And I think you're going to do good things, continue out of this. So good for you. And again, thanks for sharing your story.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, awesome. So everyone at home, again, that was Levi McCurdy, who is the co-owner and DJ at Sparkx Entertainment. And if you're looking for somebody who can take care of whether it's DJing, photo booth, video, pretty much anything related to wedding or that type of party entertainment, check them out. Sparkx Entertainment will have that link in the post below so you can easily find them. And again, great messages around taking this time to pivot. And when we get in difficult situations, sometimes it can feel easy to retract and want to pull back. But one of the best things we can do is actually dive head first, tackle the challenges that are ahead of us, figure out how to pivot and adjust so we can come out stronger on the back end. That's what Levi and Justin are doing at Sparkx. So we're looking forward to seeing what they do ahead. And we'll see you all in next week's episode of the Central PA Shrimp Tank. Thanks for tuning in.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond, and a shrimp